Hi, I'm Eddie Muller. Thanks for staying with us on TCM this evening for another installment in the Summer of Darkness. Every Friday night this month, we're showing some of my favorite noirs. Now, when you conjure up images from classic film noir, you probably see desperate people, fat cats and lowlifes, skulking through the shadows in cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. Well, we have to get our passports stamped for the next film on our itinerary. It takes place in not-so-jolly old England. Made by 20th Century Fox in 1950, it's Night and the City. The film is based on the 1938 book by Gerald Kirsch, a Brit who wrote in a number of genres but specialized in crime stories. The novel is a picaresque, a rambling tale of the London underworld with a sprawling cast, which screenwriter Joe Eisinger streamlines into the story of a single character, a shady hustler named Harry Fabian, perhaps the signature role of Richard Widmark's career. When Fox bought the rights to Kirsch's novel, it intended to relocate the action to America. But post-war, the book's original London setting helped Fox solve a dilemma all the Hollywood studios were dealing with: frozen assets. Because of the economic slump created by World War II, England passed a law that prohibited Hollywood from taking the money their films had earned out of the country. Studios could only spend that dough in England, thus benefiting the economic recovery of the country. All the major studios mounted projects in England to not lose that money, and Night and the City was one of those productions. Of course, Fox insisted on using a couple of its homegrown stars to ensure a successful U.S. run. So the story was rewritten to focus on two American expats living in London. Widmark is a hustler desperate for a big score, and Gene Tierney is the inexplicably devoted cabaret singer who loves him. Now, it was just 3 years earlier that Widmark had made his film debut as Tommy Udo, cackling sadistically as he pushed Mildred Dunnock down a flight of stairs in Kiss of Death. By 1949, he was sick of being typecast as psychos, and Darryl Zanuck promised Widmark that if he made this film, he'd never have to play a keening louse ever again. With that promise, Widmark pulled out all the stops. No one has ever given a more maniacally desperate performance. That go-for-broke quality is imbued in every aspect of this film. It is the most Baroque example of noir ever, with Jules Dassin directing at full throttle, like he might not ever make another movie, which was a very real possibility at the time. With a terrific supporting cast that includes Googie Withers, Herbert Lom, Hugh Marlowe, and Mike Mazurki, this is Night and the City. If this story felt familiar to you, maybe you saw the 1992 remake, also called Night and the City. It starred Robert De Niro as Harry Fabian and Jessica Lange in the role played here by Googie Withers. But that story was shifted to America, New York specifically, updated to modern times, and the sports angle featured boxing, not wrestling. Now, Darryl Zanuck chose Jules Dassin to direct the original version of Night in the City, specifically so the director could avoid being called before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Dassin's name had been given to the committee by Edward Dmytryk, and before he could be subpoenaed to testify about his alleged communist ties, Dassin was on his way overseas to make this film. And he pretty much stayed in Europe for the rest of his career, even after the blacklist dissipated. He'd go on to make the legendary heist films Rififi and Topkapi, as well as the comedy Never on Sunday, the latter two starring his wife, Greek actress Melina Mercouri. Well, that does it for me this evening, but there is more noir to come, neo-noir to be exact. William Hurt makes some bad decisions to stay next to Kathleen Turner in the blisteringly hot 1981 thriller Body Heat. That is up next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Body Heat, then Night Moves, and later, A Fever in the Blood. TCM is contagious tonight.